Have you ever wondered how you can make a custom cherry blossom tree? Well, no problem, because I got a solution for you. In this video, I'll be walking you through block for block how to build exactly this tree I'm showing you here, and in the meantime, I'll also be providing you with advice so that you can make your own custom tree. With that out of the way, let's get right into this video. So the first step to building a tree is going to be planning. To get a good vision of what you want to make, think about the context. Do you want to make a forest or just a single tree to complement the build? Do you want it big? Do you want it small? This step is crucial for building anything. Remember, if you're ever lost for ideas, you can always Google reference images. As you can see, I've already set up the context for my tree with this river going around here. Hopefully, you have some idea of what you want. If not, I'll provide a block-by-block tutorial at the end that you can reference. The tree I'm making in this tutorial is going to be modeled off of and therefore also have realistic proportions with the popular Yoshino cherry blossom tree. It's a medium-sized tree, which makes it really versatile, and it's also easily replicatable. Here are all the blocks that I'll be using for my build. Note that the quantities will vary if you're not building the same tree. Now the first step in actually building is to lay down the trunk. To do this, you can either have a single tower going up, which means that you're going to have one tree trunk, or you can actually place a few blocks up and make the two trunks diverge so that what you have is a codominant tree. As you can see here for the trunk, I'm using spruce wood, but any combination of reddish brown blocks or something like that will work just fine. You know how every couple of blocks that I build up with the trunk, I'm also going outwards? And doing this will really make sure that your tree has dimension in the end. And also note how the trunks that I have are going in opposite directions. And there you have it, that's the trunk of your tree. It's time to move on to the branches. Start your branches thick using the same block that you use for your trunk, and then switch to fences for thinner branch ends. You want to have it narrowing towards the end like how a tree branch is in real life. Now also, in general, branches will point upward and outward. The branches near the base of the tree point more outward, while the branches near the top of the tree point more upward. I like having around like 5 to 8 main branches that come out of the trunk directly, and I also like to have those branches individually split off sometimes near the ends, and that'll basically just add more detail to your tree. It's at this point that you should start walking around or fly around your tree, I guess if you're creative, and you just want to make sure that your tree looks good from all viewing angles. This is because the shape of your tree is determined by the branches. So once you start adding in the leaves in the next step, you're not going to be able to change the shape of your tree from then. So just make sure you don't have any areas that are sticking out or really flat. So continue this step until you're happy with the shape of your tree. It's at this point that you should also make the roots of your tree. To do this, I'm having them spread out over the ground, and I'm also using dark oak trapdoors to gradually blend the trunk into the floor. And I'm also placing like wood blocks in the ground, as you can see here. Additionally, I also fixed the trunk slightly using dark oak slabs to connect the two trunks. Yeah, so now it doesn't look like it's levitating in the air. Alright, and now that you're done with the branches, we can move on to the leaves. This part is going to probably take most of your time, and it's also going to take a bit of patience, so if you don't get it right the first time, try subscribing! Anyways, I sort of come up with a process on how you can make the leaves, and it's relatively straightforward. So you want to start off by basically spamming a ton of leaves at the ends of each of the branches that you make, and you want to concentrate more above the branches than below the branches. I have the leaves here hugging the fence part of the branch, so at the very end, but as you move inwards, you want to have your leaves more spaced out. You don't want them hugging the logs of the tree because then you're going to end up with really dense patches, which is not really good. So as you can see at this point, I'm not really worried about the density of the leaves and how it's all like clumped up in these areas, but I'm really just paying attention to how the leaves are shaped around each individual branch. So once you're finished with this step, repeat it for all the branches on your trees, as you can see I'm doing here. So now, what you want to do is start paying attention to the overall shape and the leaf density. So what I mean by the leaf density is you don't want it too clustered. You want air spaces in between your leaves, so almost as if you can see through the tree. So how I do this is I go to each of the places that I've spammed leaves previously, and I start knocking out a few of the leaves. As you can see, I have like sort of a method for doing this. So I'm picking places where I see a lot of flat areas, and I'm basically just adding some dimension to it by breaking the leaves in between. As you can see here, I have like 3 or 4 consecutive leaf blocks placed in a line, and what I'm doing is I just punch one of those leaves block out in the middle, and that just gives the tree more dimension and makes it more natural. Again, like the last step, you want to continuously check your tree from all angles and make sure you're satisfied with the shape of the crown that you have. Once you're satisfied with your leaves, it's time for detailing. I like to start by adding white flowers on top of the tree. So to do this, I'm replacing some of the leaves on the top with white wool. And then I'm replacing a few of the blocks around the white wool with white stained glass. Just be careful not to overdo this step, because if you add too many flowers, then you're gonna end up with like not a cherry blossom looking tree. Now for the finishing touches, I like to have end rods hanging under the leaves to give a subtle weeping effect to the tree. As you can see, I'm doing this under the branch tips again. I'm not doing this near the middle of the tree because then it'll just look weird. This also adds light to the tree, which makes it look really nice at night. That's it! Congratulations! You finished watching this tutorial, and now you can make your very own cherry blossom tree. And as promised, here's the block by block tutorial on how you can make this tree, starting from the bottom layer. Although this tutorial was made for a medium-sized tree, you can upscale this build as much as you like. And if you've made it this far, thank you so much! If you have any suggestions for other builders, or for myself, leave them down below. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. Have fun!